Hey guys, today we're going to go over how to set up a simple web server into Django. So the first step to this is to install the Anaconda distribution with the Conda package manager. Okay, you actually don't need this. You could just use pip to install the Django, but I'm going to be using Conda to install the Django and manage the virtual environments that we're going to be using with the to use the Django. So I recommend you do too. So go to anaconda.com here, this installation information, and you could select the installation for Windows or Mac OS or Linux. On Windows, make note, okay, when you're installing it here, of where you install Anaconda 3 here, okay, and you're going to want to, it's going to ask you to add Anaconda to your path variable. I suggest you do this, even though it says not recommended, because we're going to be using Conda from the terminal primarily. If you're on Mac OS, you have two different choices of installers. I actually recommend using the command line installer. It's pretty straightforward. You just download this script. So you just need this script that you can download right here. It'll give you this .sh script, and basically just cd to where that script is, okay, or just specify the path of where the script is and run bash on that script, and just follow the instructions, and also make note of its install location. So this is important, to make note of its install location. If something goes wrong is the trick. So basically after it's installed, you should be able to type in Conda. Conda should exist. You should be able to do something like Conda environment info, and it'll list the different environments. Okay. Where is it? Conda info environments. Sorry. And it'll list the different environments. You'll probably start off with just a base environment. And if that doesn't work, then the issue is that this location, the Anaconda 3 install location, its bin is not in your path. Okay, so there should be a path. There should be like home, your username is usually where you're going to install it, Anaconda 3 bin, and that location, that bin should be inside your path. That's where Conda is. Okay, after you get Conda installed, first of all, let's talk a little bit about what is Conda. Okay, so the default package manager for Python is pip. Okay, so you want a package manager because when you install a programming language, you want to have a community that can develop libraries for this programming language, and you don't want to just install. You can't. It's unreasonable to just have every single library that exists out there installed with the programming language. So you have a piece of software that helps you install these things. So the default with Python, like I was saying, is pip. For some of you that worked with in one JC3 last semester with Haskell, it was Cabal is the default package manager, and there's a thing on top of it called Stack. And Conda is kind of like a similar situation to that. So what Conda is going to do is, Conda is first of all, it's linked to this Anaconda distribution, which is basically a way of having a bunch of different libraries that are put together at certain versions, okay, that are known that's work together. Okay, so when you install different libraries with Conda, you can kind of like rest assured that those libraries will work together well. Okay, whereas with pip, you might find that like you didn't install the library at the right version for one thing. Okay, and another thing that Conda is going to give you is virtual environments. So basically, you run into this situation a lot of times where you're working on one project, and one project A, we'll call it, uses, say, NumPy version 3. Okay, so you install NumPy at version 3, and then maybe you're working on another project later, and this other project needs NumPy, but at version 4. So you upgrade this project B, okay, you upgrade NumPy for it, okay, but now you've broken project A. Okay, so this is just kind of one of many situations where like managing packages on your system can get annoying. So the idea here is that we can create these different environments, install stuff into that environment, And that'll include actually even our version of Python, what version of Python we want to use, okay? Exclusive to that environment, and then activate it and deactivate it as we need it. So if we're working on project A, we could have an environment for project A. We'll activate it when we're working on it, and then we'll deactivate it when we want to go work on project B and activate a new environment for that project. So if you install Conda and you want to make your own environment, you can do that with conda create, okay, -n for name and the name of whatever environment you want to create. Okay, and then you could specify Python equals, and you can specify what version of Python you want to work inside that environment. So if I go back, so I'll create a new environment for you. I'll say conda create n, okay, my new env, okay, and I'm going to specify Python equals, let's say 3.8. Okay, and this will do a bit of work installing some stuff. Yes, install the default stuff for this environment, and might take a little while. And while it's doing that, I'll explain. After I create my environment, okay, I can find out info. I already did this command. I do conda info to list all of my environments on my system. Okay, so after I create this environment, I can start installing stuff with it. Okay, well, first I then need to activate it. So you'll see at the side of my terminal, after you install Conda, you should have this at the side of your terminal, and you'll see I'm in the base environment right now. So if I want to activate a different environment, I use conda activate. Okay, so I could do something like conda info envs. That lists a different environment, and I'll say, I want to activate, let's say, my new environment. So I'll do conda activate my new env. Okay, and you'll see now at the left side, I have my new env in brackets, so I know I'm in my new environment. Okay, so now if I do stuff like conda install, let's say Django, it'll install the Django exclusively into this environment. Okay, so now Django at whatever version I decide to install that, looks like it's installing it at 3.03 here, okay, will be installed in this location. Okay, and I could also install stuff. You'll see if I do a which Python now, Python is inside of my new environment bin. Okay, so it's specific to my new environment, and even if I do a which pip is inside there as well. So I could also install stuff with pip. So I don't have to just install stuff with Django, with Conda. You should default to installing stuff with Conda because most likely things will work better that way. Like there's more guarantee that things will play nice together. But if something is not available in the Anaconda distribution, you can still install stuff with pip, and it will still install into that environment. Okay, so when you're done working on this environment, you could deactivate it with conda deactivate. There's no need to specify which environment you're deactivating. It'll just deactivate the current environment. Okay. And then if you're done with that environment, if you don't want it anymore, you could remove it. I could do a conda. I could uninstall it, remove, name, my new env, and I'll do --all to say remove all of these packages that were involved inside it. Okay, so if I don't need that environment and it's just taking up room on my system, I can delete it and all of its packages. Okay, so probably you want to create the Django environment, and you can do that by creating a Django environment, activating it, and then installing. I would install both the Anaconda packages and the Django package. Okay, and then once you've done that, I've already done that on my system, and I showed you just how to do it just again. Once you've done that, you should be able to activate that environment. So with that environment activated, okay, you should be able to activate that environment. You should have access to this Django admin executable now. Okay, if you just type it in on its own, it'll tell you about the different subcommands that are available for it. And this Django admin, it's going to be core for working with Django, particularly just for creating new Django projects. Okay. Now, for the Mac One XA3 server, if you SSH into the Mac One XA3 server, you shouldn't have to do this anymore. So you can just ignore this step. But you should be able to just activate the Conda environment, the Django environment. I set up one Django environment with Django already installed inside it for all of you guys to use. So you don't have to create one yourself. It's already there to use. Okay. Now, one trick about Conda environments that you should all know about, okay, is how to export your environment into an environment file so that other people can recreate your environment. So this is very important for if you're going to be sharing a Python project on GitHub, okay? So what you should do is you should be using some sort of virtual environment. So right now I'm telling you to use Conda's virtual environments. And then, so after when you're working on your project, anything you install for that project, you're going to put that into a file. Let's say this environment YAML, okay? And then anybody that wants to try out your project, okay, they're not going to have to figure out which packages you installed, okay, in order to get your project working. They'll just recreate your environment with this command from that file, from that environment.yaml file, okay? Okay, so let's get started now. Now that we've figured out a bit about how to use Conda and Conda virtual environments, let's get started on making our own Django project, our first Django project. So we're going to make a very simple project. Our goal here is going to just be to serve a hello world kind of HTML, okay? So to do this, we'll make sure, so I'm going to go into Emacs and I'll use my Emacs terminal. So to do this, we're going to make sure that the Django environment is activated, okay? And then we're going to use the command Django admin start project Django project, okay? And this will create a folder called Django _project. So you can replace this if you want to call your project something else. You can replace this with whatever you want. Okay, so I'm going to go to, I'll make this project in my home directory. So I'll go with my home directory and I'll make Django admin start. Oh, so I need to activate my Conda environment. I'm forgetting my own advice, guys. Django admin start project. And we'll call this the Django. Whoops, sorry, the Django _project. Nice. The Django _project. So I could CD into this now, the Django _project. And let's look inside. And there'll be two folders. Another Django _project, which is going to be a little bit confusing, so keep that in mind. There's a Django _project folder inside of the Django _project folder, and a manage.py file. This manage.py file is very important, so make note of it, okay, and make note of where it is. Okay, so let's start our first Hello World project, the Django style. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set it up so that Django is going to go to a specific URL, and at that specific URL, it's going to send back some HTML. That's basically going to be the most basic HTML document we can make. It's just going to contain hello world inside it. It's going to be a bare minimum HTML document. So to do this, we're going to open up inside of Django project. This is the second Django project folder, urls.py, okay? So let's open that up. So I'm going to go into Django project again, urls.py. Okay, the file should already exist there. You don't have to recreate it. And it should already have this inside of it. Okay. So what we're gonna do is there's already one path set up here. I'm just gonna comment out this path. I'm gonna get rid of it for now. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is, first of all, I need to import from the Django HTTP import HTTP response. Okay, and hold on, I'm gonna make sure the Conda environment is activated in my editor so that I can get autocomplete. Okay, so I'm gonna import HTTP response, and what I'm gonna do is I'll start off with the path. Okay, I'm gonna say from whatever domain you have. Okay, when you go to the path, let's do e/ whatever your MAC ID is. I'll just put MAC ID. Okay, /. Then let's serve. Okay, I'll give it a function. Okay, that will take a request, whatever request was sent to this path, and return an HTTP response. Okay, so I'm going to make a function. I'm just going to call it view for now. Okay, and you'll see why I call it view in a bit. So I'm going to do def view takes a request. Okay, and it's going to have some HTML inside here, and this HTML code is going to be make as basic an HTML document as we can. Hello world. I actually don't even need the HTML tags there, but just to emphasize that this is an HTML document I'm going to be sending back. Okay, and I'm going to return that in the HTTP response object. So I'm going to make this HTTP response. It's an object constructor. Okay, so I'm going to construct that object, and it's going to have this string as its response. Okay, so I should mention right now, on the Mac One XA3 server, you can't serve from just any location. I can't have you guys doing that because you'll all be like stampeding over each other. So the idea is anything you send out over Mac One XA3 has to begin with e/ your Mac ID. Okay, so you can make other paths like after that path. Okay, after that URL, you can make other stuff, but it has to begin with that. Where Mac ID is your Mac ID. Okay, so we're going to be running it on our localhost to begin with, but let's just put this there anyways, just for consistency's sake. Okay, so now we should be able to actually run our server. Okay, we've already actually written enough code to have a simple server that serves hello world, okay, back as an HTML page. So what we're going to do is in the Django project, so basically in the same server, in the same directory as manage.py, we're going to run Python manage.py. So we're going to run this script, and we're going to give it the arguments run server. Okay, and if you're working off of your own machine, which I suggest you do first, I'll show you how to work off of the Mac One XA3 server in a sec. You do localhost, and you could use port number 8000. Okay, if you're working off of Mac One XA3.ca, okay, you have to use your port number. Okay, so you have to use the port number that corresponds to the path /e/ whatever your Mac ID is. So for that, you'll have to go to Mac One XA3.ca and go to Mac One user ports, and you'll have to like look up what port number I've given you. Okay, so we have to find your Mac ID and look up what port number I've given you. Okay, but while you're doing this on your local machine, you just use localhost 8000. So let's do it on our local machine first. So we'll do, so make sure you're in the same directory as manage.py. Make sure you've got the Django environment activated, and run Python manage.py run server localhost 8000. Okay, and this might spit out, if you made some sort of syntax error or something, it might spit out an error. Python errors, just a word of advice, read them bottom up. So start at the bottom and start reading up like that, okay? But if it didn't spit out any errors, you'll have this. It will complain about having unapplied migrations. Ignore that for now. That's no problem, okay? As long as you got to the starting development server at this location, press Control-C to quit, okay? You'll be good. So leaving this running, we can now go to our browser, okay? And what we're going to want to do is see the path we're routing to is e/macid. So we want to go to http localhost-8000, okay, /e/macid, and then it should serve us this. Okay, so let's give that a try. So http localhost-8000 /e/macid. Whoops, am I running the wrong thing? Let's find out. So it's giving me an error because it can't find the right URL. It looks like I have another version of the server running by accident. So in the weird case that happens, let's do kill all. Let's go hard on this sig kill Python. Okay. And where am I? Just to make sure I'm in the right project. Yeah, looks like it. Let's go to localhost 8000. All right, let's try this again. Okay, now it worked. Sorry, that was a bit of a weird oddity. I must have had another server running. So this is serving the right thing now. Just hello world here. Okay. Now, what I've done here is probably the hackiest way you could have set up the Django server, putting this all in one file here. It doesn't seem that hacky right now because I made basically as minimum a server as I could. But what you're really going to want to do is you're going to want to split this code up. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to create a Django web app. Okay, so our project should be just a way of managing a bunch of different web apps. Okay, so to do this, let's what we're going to do is we're going to stop our server and go back to Python where the manage.py is, and we're going to use this script again with the argument start app, and we're going to give it an app name. Okay, so let's Control-C to stop the server. Okay, so inside the same directory as manage.py, we're going to run Python manage.py start app. Okay, and I'm going to give it an app name. So I'll call this one hello app. Okay, and you'll see that create a folder, hello app. And you'll see if I look inside that folder, hello app, it has a bunch of pre-made Python files. Okay, a lot of these are going to be pretty important. But for now, let's just look inside this apps.py. Okay, so inside of this apps.py, we have a class defined. Okay, so let's make a note of this class and its location. So it's in hello app apps.py, and the class is hello app config. So every time we make an app, we're going to have to go into our settings, okay, and add this app to our project as an installed app. Okay, this is going to be important later for when we're using database functionality. So we might as well just get used to it now. So let's open up. So we're going to have to open up the file. It's going to be to Django Project settings.py. Okay, so let's open up that file. Okay, and we're going to go all the way to installed apps here. Okay, and in installed apps, we put it at the top. We're going to put hello app dot apps dot hello app config. Okay, we're going to give it that class. We're going to give it the file path. Okay, it's in the folder hello app, the file apps, the class hello app config. Okay, and that's it. Now we've installed our app. So now we have a new app to work with. This isn't important for now. We can skip this. So now we're gonna have to further modularize our code. So in our new hello app folder, we already have a file views.py. So what we're gonna do is let's take the code that we had before. So remember this code we had in our urls.py? Let's grab this code. Oops. Let's grab this code and let's put it, okay, into hello app views.py. Okay. So we're gonna have to import. We used HTTP response and we imported it here to use it. So we're gonna have to import it here. So we can get rid of this code from here now, and let's get rid of this and let's put it here instead. Okay. So this views.py, this is going to be a place for writing your functions or classes, as I'll show you later, that take requests and do kind of the server-side computation work, interfacing with maybe your databases or taking advantage of the Django middleware and sending a response back to the client. Okay, so this is going to be where you put these functions or classes for doing that. We'll call them views. So now what we need to do, that urls.py that we were working with, the Django urls.py, the way you should think about this file is it should just be there to route from a base path to a bunch of other apps. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to it, and where we import path, we're going to import another function now, include. Okay, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to use this function to say whenever you have a path e/macid or whatever path you put there, route all of that traffic to hello app, okay, .urls. Oh, and this should be in a string. Let me put a comma there just in case. Okay, so what we're saying here is whenever we have from this urls.py, okay, send everything from this path to hello apps urls.py. Okay. Now, one problem, hello apps urls.py doesn't exist yet. So what we should actually do is let's just take this code and let's open up. So it'll be in the folder hello app, and we'll make our own urls.py here. Okay. And we'll copy some of this code, but we'll copy it just so that to use it to modify it. And now we'll take this path and we can get rid of it. We can assume that that path is already there by the time we get here. And now we can route, let's route it from another path. So now let's say from e/macid, we'll route to hello. And put the slash at the end. This is a good convention you should always follow when routing paths into Django, is instead of putting the slash at the beginning, just always put the slash at the end. Okay, and then we'll get rid of this include. And what we want to do is when we go to this URL, we should send it to be handled, whatever request gets sent to this URL to be handled by this view. Okay, so to do that, we're going to have to import this views.py module. So these two files are in the same location, so I can say from dot import views, and that'll import the views module. and now I can put views dot view to use the view function here. Okay, and at this point, after we've done this, okay, one last thing, sorry, we might want to do is give this a name just for debugging purposes. We actually don't have to do this, but just for debugging purposes, in case there's an error, it'll tell you what, it'll give you this name, okay, whatever you put here. So I could, just so that we can identify which view got called. So I could say the name of this view is hello view. I'll do hello dash view. Okay, and at this point, we're basically back to where we were before. Okay, so now we should be able to run Python manage.py, run server, localhost 8000. Okay, and I can go back, localhost 8000, and the only thing that's changed is now I added, remember, that extra hello path. So let's say I just go here again. Yeah, you'll see that it says page not found, and now we can debug this. We could say, because Django tells us what URLs we tried, okay, and it was saying, well, there's the URLs e/macid, okay, that then gets sent to hello, okay, so this is one whole URL, okay, try not to notice the space difference inside here, and it's saying, well, just e/macid doesn't go to any of them, okay, so let's go to hello, and there we go. Okay, so now we're right back where we were before, but with good coding style. Now our project is properly modularized, we should say. Okay, so this was how you run the Django project on your local system. You might want to run it on the server. So running it on the server is going to be a little bit more complicated. So like I was saying, you have to run it from e/your macid. So to do this, so let's SSH into the server. And here's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to SCP this, the Django project, CPR, onto the server. Okay, and so I'll give it password. Okay, I copied everything over. So now I'm going to SSH onto the server. Oh wait, no, I don't want to do this inside of Emacs. Let's exit out of Emacs. Let's SSH onto the server. Okay, and I have my Django project here. Sorry, the highlighting is a bit dumb. Okay, and in order to run manage.py on the server, I'm actually going to have to edit it so that the URL, so I'm going to have to open up, so let's open up Emacs again, urls.py. I'm going to have to edit it so that the Mac ID is my actual Mac ID on the server, my username on the server, okay? So I'll change this to DLCP. Okay, so the reason I need to do this is, like I was saying before, guys, I can't have you guys treading on top of each other. And actually, whenever you guys are serving something on the Mac One XA3 server, you're doing it behind my server. Okay, so in order for your server to receive any traffic, it has to be directed there by my server. And my server is only ever going to direct traffic to you if it's a URL that's something like e/whatever your username is on the server, okay? And then from there, it's going to direct traffic to a specific port, okay, on the server. So it's going to do, so now when we run, so open my terminal again. So I have to activate the Conda environment, don't forget to do that. And I'll go to where the Django project is. okay, where the manage.py file is. But now when I run this, okay, run server, I'll run localhost, but I can't just give it 8000. I can't just give it any old port. I need to give it the correct port, okay, specify that I've assigned to that path, that ed/whatever your Mac ID path is. So you can look that up, like I was saying before. You can go to mac1xa3.ca and look up your user port here and find that port. So I'll run that port, okay? And now while the server is running, so I suggest you always run things this way to see if there's any errors. If there's no errors, okay, and you get starting develop server at the right port, okay, and then you can check that it's working. So we basically go to the same URL now, except instead of putting localhost 8000, I do mac1xa3.ca. Okay. Oh, and not Mac ID, but my actual Mac ID. Okay, see, it's working just fine. And if you get an error, always open up your JavaScript console to check things out. Okay, so assuming that worked, eventually you're going to want to quit, right? You're going to want to stop. Now, this is going to be an issue for if you want to leave the server running all the time. So generally, this is what you do with a server. Like you run it, and then you want it to stay running even after you've exited out of your SSH session. So to do this, you will do no up, okay, the standard way to run the server, and then ampersand at the end. And this way it'll run in the background, okay? And when you exit, it might actually complain the first time you exit, but if you just try and exit again, you'll exit and it'll still be running in the background, okay? Now, you're gonna have to kill the server manually after you've done this, okay? By doing kill all Python when you log in, or by listing all of the processes, looking for your port number where it's running, and then killing whatever process ID corresponds to what you find, okay? Sometimes this will kill things, and you'll have to do kill all -sig kill, like I taught you guys before. Okay, and that's how to run a simple Django server.